Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a really quick thrifted book haul to share with you, but first I have a little story to tell you. Just yesterday I was visiting a friend and she is also a homeschooler, and I was in her homeschool room and she was showing me some books, and one of the books that she showed me she wanted to use with her kids for her Middle Ages unit. And we have a Middle Ages unit coming up and I really liked the book that she had. It seemed like it was a really great hands-on kind of book, like with things in it that could be hands-on. What kind of book was it? I don't know. It was a really great book. I took a picture of it. I wanted to get it for my kids for that same unit. Anyway, this morning I went to the library to pick up some books for our current unit, and actually I never even made it inside the library because I got distracted by the library bookstore, which was set up outside. And while I was there, I found the exact book that my friend had, and I just was super thrilled because I didn't have to go and pay full price for it online or at a bookstore. I got it for a huge discount, of course, because it's the library bookstore. So I am going to show you the books, and then when I get to that one, I'm going to share with you the book that I got. I think all of them are pretty good. Some of them are kind of like I was not sure about, but you know, it's not like you can really mull over the whole process when you're at the library bookstore, because you know it's not going to be there the next time you come, because books just kind of go through really quickly, rotate really quickly, turn over really quickly. Okay, I picked up something for my daughter. I have no idea about this book. She's 6 and I will read it aloud to her, but the cover caught my attention, and then I read the first line and it says museum, and I was like, that sounds exciting, and so I thought this would be something that I could read to her aloud in the evening. I like picture books, of course, but I prefer to like really get into a book that's going to be interesting for both of us. So hopefully this is. She's pretty sensitive to things that are like conflicts and scary things, and so if that ends up being like that, then we won't be able to read this one. The Little Princess I also picked up for her. Over the summer, I picked up the same book, but I made a mistake. Well, I didn't make a mistake. I mean, I just failed to realize that it wasn't the actual original book. It was the either an abridged version or a retelling, and I really wanted the original version of the book. And so when I saw that one at the library bookstore, I picked it up. So The Little Princess was 50 cents. It's not in front of me anymore because my daughter took it. And I should probably mention that this one was $1. Now, we just finished studying penguins in our ocean unit, and so I went ahead and picked this one up to add to that unit so that we just have an assortment of these kinds of books available just to read. I like an assortment of nonfiction books in our homeschool library, but this one's kind of, I wasn't crazy exactly about the content. It just, I feel like, well, I'll just tell you, it's about a mom who goes away. Obviously, the mom penguin needs to go away and feed after she lays the egg. And the storyline is mostly like, it's going to be okay, little penguin, your mom will come back, and she has to leave, and you know, she'll be okay and she'll come back. And so I felt like this is kind of maybe a story that you might tell like a preschooler who is a little bit unsure about going to preschool, but it's okay. Or maybe like, you know, you're going to leave your child with a babysitter, for instance. It seems like it's more like that kind of a book, but I still really like the pictures, and so I still got it, and it was 50 cents. So that was one of the books that I wasn't sure about whether I wanted to get or not. The Aztec Indians, I like to have a number of nonfiction books, again, for the different units that we're doing. This one didn't look especially that great, but I just don't have very much on Central, South, or South America, and so I thought, why not have, you know, why not start to build that part of our homeschool library. Arithmetrix, I actually already have. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Let me go back and tell you. This one was 50 cents. And this one was 50 cents, and I have it already, and we don't use it all the time, but we do try to use it. Actually, it's kind of like great for opening activities or teaching certain mental math skills. But the reason why I got it is because when I see like a book that I like or that we've used or that's in our homeschool library and it's a really great deal, I pick it up and then I find a new home for it. So that's why I got it. And it looks like it's in perfect condition. It is like far better than our copy. Okay, The Empty Pot. This is a book that we're going to add to our ancient China unit, and we can do that, or maybe not even ancient China. We're going to be doing the Middle Ages and the Silk Road, and so this could fit into that part of our unit as well. But I haven't read through this. I don't know the time period, but I think that it's going to be good. I, again, don't have a lot of books on this particular region. Tales from India Classics, or Tales from India Classics? Tales from India. No, Tales from India Classics, book 2. Indian Classics. Tales from Indian Classics. I can read, guys. This book was 50 cents, and there are actually 2 of them in here. I've got book 2 and I've got book 3. And this is going to go for our ancient India unit when we get to it, which I don't have it planned anytime soon. But again, if I can start to collect resources, then it makes it that much easier when we finally get to these topics later on. This looked like an old book, and it's printed in 1966. And it has just stories that would help understand ancient Indian culture and maybe probably modern day Indian culture. Okay, this is the book that my friend had. This is called Famous Figures of Medieval Times, and I thought this would be a great hands-on kind of book. You can see that the pages are perforated here, and you can color these, and then I think you can assemble them. So it looks like paper dolls that you can assemble. So I thought anything that involves projects for me, I love to add to our homeschool units. I just feel like it really adds a lot to the unit, and it just makes it enjoyable, and hopefully it helps the children build fond memories of that part of their childhood and their homeschool experience, and then of course with that, you know, that unit that we're doing, that information. And so that's why I look for things like this. So that is something that I am super thrilled to have found for only $1. It was $1, yeah. And it retails for $16.95, and it looks like it's in super good condition. So super happy about that. Rosie and the Bear Flag. And this I picked up for 50 cents. And I picked it up because we live in California, and so adding things that have to do with local history or just California history, then I'm just starting to collect them for when we get to this part in our homeschool. And so I haven't really looked through this book too much. I just picked it up based on that, and I feel like there's some books super easy to find if you searched online, like this one that I'm going to show you in a minute. But I feel like there's some books that may not be as easy to find online. And so when you can find little treasures like that at the library bookstore or at any other kind of thrifted store, then it's just great to get them. And for 50 cents, I feel like that's kind of like an exciting part of the whole hunt. All right, Ancient Egyptians and Their Neighbors. I actually have this book. And I got it again for the fact that this book retails for $16.95. It was only $1. It looks like it's in really great condition. So this is another book that I'm just going to put aside and find a good home for, because I know that I enjoyed it. My kids enjoyed it. We got a lot out of this. And so if I find little treasures like that in the bookstore, I definitely put them aside for some other homeschooling family. The Human Body. This is... Our bookstore carries a number of books that are old. And so actually they start counting them old in the early 90s. You can start seeing little price tags that have the date on it, which I found kind of funny. But anyway, this one is about anatomy and the human body, and we do have a few books on anatomy, and we have done this unit before, but I wasn't really pleased with the way that I put this unit together, and so I'm looking to kind of redo that entire unit and take out the books that just didn't seem that interesting. And I don't know how this book is going to be, but I thought I would give it a try, and it was $1. And it was $1 back in 1969 as well. But then it was sold for 33 cents. So anyway, that was kind of cool. Here's another book that was only $1. This is called Animals at Home. It's the Bee. And I just thought it was kind of cool. It's, what year was it? 1969. And the illustrations are kind of different. And it's one of those I want to say old hardback books, but I don't know. Oh, that's super cute, actually. Oh, those other ones, those little penguins. Anyway, I just thought it was charming, and I'm sure that if I went to my mother's garage, I could probably find books just like this. But we're gonna add this to our nature table probably in the spring. I think it'll look really nice. Mummies. So we also have this book, but for 50 cents. Oh, did I tell you this book was $1? Oh, it was $1 for this book. Anyway, this one is 50 cents. And this is another one that we also already have. I found that this book was pretty good, but I can't remember if I thought it was really fantastic. But since I know that we have it, I went ahead and picked it up. Again, I'm gonna find a good home for these books that I already have. So here's that other one, Tales from Indian Classics. Said it right this time. This is book number 3, and that is so cool. Look at that. I love it when somebody wrote in it, like, do you think you could read these stories to your children? That I love it when you get books from that are secondhand and they've got inscriptions in them. I just kind of think that that's kind of cool. So this one, I just made sure that it had different stories in it, and it does. And so these are ones that you could either read aloud or you could use as resource material and read it and then present it to your children. Then we have The Heroes. The Heroes was only $1. It's a nice large hardback book. It looks like it's still in really good condition, but I feel like the pages are probably a little bit delicate, and so this is probably not a book that I'd want my kids to go through as much as I would prefer that I just read it to them aloud. And this just goes through the different stories for ancient Greece, and this is going to work really well for the units that we already do. We definitely do, and we did it recently in ancient Greece and an ancient Roman unit, but they're actually coming up for us again this year. So I went ahead and got that because it looked like a living book to me. This book, so I don't actually actively go out and buy workbooks for my kids, but when I find things that I think they might like, and this was 50 cents, which probably wouldn't even retail for that much in the first place. It says $6.50 here, but that just seems a little bit high for this kind of workbook. But the thing is that my children, I put together daily work for them that's like 5-10 minute little activities for them to do in grammar and in math, and I thought this would be a nice thing to add to it. And so this is not work that I totally require of my children, but I think it's just kind of fun to kind of break up the day and have something to start the day, something to start the day so that I can just kind of get present for our school day. And so that's why I pick up on occasion these kinds of workbooks. This one's You're on Your Way, Teddy Roosevelt, and I kind of just liked this picture book, and so that's why I got it. And anytime you can get a nice picture book, a biography that's in a picture book format, I especially like that because in my opinion, picture books are great for information in a really simple and beautiful presentation. And they're like beautifully illustrated too. And so anytime I can find great picture books that have amazing content, then I like to add that to our homeschool library. And this one was only 50 cents. So if you haven't guessed it already, all of the orange stickers were 50 cents. So most of the books that I got, I forgot to tell you about the Heroes book. This one, I might have said it was $1, but I think it was actually $2 actually. So $2 for that one. The Gentle Willow was another book that I wasn't sure if I wanted to get. The illustrations are okay. They're not like super what I totally like, but still like super charming nonetheless, but not my first pick. Anyway, the content is, I think, really fantastic. I didn't actually read through it, but it is about dying and how to, I guess, how to tell kids, or it's just a story about dying for kids. Okay. All right, so this is another book that, it's a workbook that I picked up as well. It's also 50 cents, and it says it's for 5th grade. Actually, the content I felt, oh, was it this one? Oh, no, it was this one that I thought the content was really good. World history. Anywho, this one I picked up because we do a unit study approach, but we still need to have samples in all subject areas every month. And so on occasion, I will just pull out a worksheet in a particular subject area if we're not covering it in our unit study at that time, so that my child still has material in all of the different subject areas that we're doing. So sometimes these samples only represent that lesson, and other times our samples represent, you know, weeks and weeks of work. And it was 50 cents. So this one I thought was actually really good. It was also 50 cents. It's called Graphic Organizer Activities with Answer Key. This is for world history. I wonder what the age range is, or the grades, because I found this to have a lot of really good content. Now, it's probably not something, oh, I bet you it goes with the textbook. Anyway, so I wonder what grade this is for, actually. Anyway, I will look into it. The reason why I got this was, again, to have on occasion a sample, but also I found that there were a couple of things in here that relate to the Middle Ages unit that we're going to be doing. And so it's, since I am in part putting together that unit, like writing the curriculum from scratch, and in part I'm using books and just, you know, not writing my own curriculum for it, it's going to be a really big block of time devoted to the Middle Ages, but also to the Silk Route, and also to the Islamic world at the time. So we are going to be covering a lot of different areas, and since there isn't, in my opinion, a really solid curriculum out there to talk about Islamic history during that time, I'm going to be writing my own. And so any resources that I can get my hands on in order to help me do that, I'm going to do. And so I thought that this was pretty good. The last book I have for you is called Kit Carson and the Mountain Men. This is also an old book, 1960 it looks like, and this was for $2, and it seemed like kind of a nice story approach for this time period in history, which we had intended to do last year and did not get through all of the history material that I wanted to get through. So I'm just going to add that to that unit, so the next time we come around to it, we will have more material for it. All right, so that's everything that I've got for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about any of the books that I got, please leave them down in the comment section below. In total, for all these books, I spent $14.50. All right, thanks for watching. I tried to make it a short one. It's still 20 minutes.